Hello everybody, this is JT Productions and welcome back to another 2023 preview and prediction video. Today, I'll be doing the Syracuse Orange. Let's get into it. In 2022, Syracuse went 7-6 and started the season 6-0 with wins against Louisville, at UConn, Purdue, Virginia, Wagner, and NC State. Most of those not bad wins either. Purdue ended up going to the Big Ten title. Louisville had a pretty good season. UConn had a pretty good season. And NC State at that point was had a pretty good win streak, or some pretty good wins. And they gave Clemson all they had, losing 27-21. They had the ball driving down the field, but threw a pick at the end of the game. Then they lost to Notre Dame in a blowout. Then they lost at Pitt 19-9. Then they lost to Florida State in a blowout. Then they lost to Wake Forest by 10 for beating Boston College at the end of the year 32-23 for losing to Minnesota in the bowl game. So it was just a collapse at the end of the season for Syracuse. Dino Babers had his team rolling, but then could not finish the season against a very tough stretch of games. Now, with that being said, let's see what he's working with this year to see if he can't do better. Well, Garrett Schrader's back this year, so see if he can't help out. The running back situation was a lot better last year, but you still got LaQuaint Allen and Jawan Price and some freshmen that are here. Wide receivers, you have Isaiah Jones, Damian Alford, and Orodi Gadsden. Tight end, you have Maximilian Mang and Dan Vivari. The offensive line, you have a mix of old and young talent. You have Joe Moore coming in from Richmond at offensive tackle, and David Wallabaugh coming in from Kentucky at tackle. On the defensive side, you have Braylon Ingram coming in from Alabama at defensive end, and you have Jaden Gold coming in from Nebraska at defensive back, and Jaleel Martin coming in from Nebraska at safety. So all in all, the team is going to be very similar to last year. You don't have the running back situation that you had last year with Chase Allen, maybe his name was Sean Tucker. Yeah, that's who it was, Sean Tucker. He left for the NFL draft. And Sean Tucker was one of the guys on your team last year, but carried the team a good bit. So if you can't find that running back, you're going to rely a lot more on Garrett Schrader. So with that being said, let's look at the schedule to see how I think y'all are going to do this year. Well, you start out with Colgate and Western Michigan. And I think that you win both those games. I wouldn't sleep on Western Michigan, but I do think that you're good enough to win both those games, especially being at home. The next three are going to be tough for you, though. You go to Purdue, then you host Army and Clemson. Army's not a team that you need to sleep on. They love to slow the game down and play their brand of football. So we'll see how you do in that game. The game at Purdue, even with a new head coach, I do think you lose that game. So I think you start out 2-1 before playing Army. I think that the loss of Sean Tucker is going to hurt you a lot there. Their offense is still going to be around what it was, even without Jeff Brom there, I think. So I think you're 2-1 before playing Army. Now, Army, they love to slow the game down, like I said, and play their brand of football. I do have faith that you will win the game, though. I do think that you're going to be able to play your brand of football, especially being at home. And I think that you get to 3-1. Then you play Clemson. I don't think this is going to be close like it was last year. Cade Klubnik is back starting. They don't have DJ starting. They have Garrett Riley coming in as offensive coordinator. I think you're going to get blasted by Clemson. Then you have two back-to-back road games against North Carolina and Florida State, two of the better teams in the ACC. I think you lose both of those games. And at this point, you are 3-4, below 500 going into the bye week. Unlike last year, you have a tough stretch early in the year. So after the bye week, you play at Virginia Tech. And I think you get nipped here. I think Virginia Tech catches you off guard as you're in like a little bit of a wounded animal mode with maybe the running game is not what you want it to be. Maybe Garrett Schrader's struggling. Maybe the defense is struggling. But I think Virginia Tech catches you off guard here, even after a bye week, and gets a much-needed win for the Hokies in prime time in Blacksburg. Then you play Boston College at home. Then you have, then you play Boston College at home. And I think you get a win there. I think you beat the Eagles for a much-needed win at this point to get you to 4-5 before playing Pitt in the Bronx in Yankee Stadium. Not necessarily a home game for you, but it's closer to you than it is to Pitt. And I think you get a win there. I think you get a much-needed win there as well against a pretty good Pitt team at this point. Then you go on the road to Bobby Dodd Stadium to Georgia Tech. While Georgia Tech is getting to be more of a physical team under Brent Key, I think at this late point in the year, anything can happen. And I think you beat Georgia Tech to get to bowl eligibility at 6-6. You're going to be fighting for a lot in this game. Then you come back home to play Wake Forest, and I think that weird offense that Dave Clawson runs is going to catch you by surprise late in the year, and I think you lose to Wake Forest to go 6-6. So, not the best year for Dino Babers. I could see him maybe being fired after this year. Not necessarily a bad year for him, but just too many of these he's had, so we'll just have to see. He may save his job with that 3-game winning streak in November against Boston College, Pitt, and Georgia Tech. So we'll just have to see. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed, and Go Dogs.